Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us this Friday night. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Jay Cohn. Slowly but surely, firefighters are gaining ground on the wildfires torching Northern California, but the numbers keep rising.
At least 35 people are dead, 5,700 homes and businesses destroyed, and 90,000 people displaced as flames continue to wreak havoc.
CBS's Chris Martinez is near Calistoga tonight to bring us an up-close look.
Dramatic body cam video from first responders Sunday night shows the desperate rush to get people out of harm's way.
Come on, she's disabled. All right, let me get her feet.
A sheriff's department cruiser drove through neighborhoods.
This is a mandatory evacuation order. Leave your homes.
And then out on foot, waving cars away.
Go, 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 go!
9,000 firefighters are now battling the multiple blazes torching Northern California, and they've made some progress.
We're really excited that it's going to be, we're making a big difference out there.
The sheriff's office is concentrating on missing persons, more than 200 still unaccounted for. Recovery teams with cadaver dogs are trying to locate the remains of those who were lost. Alejandro Ortega managed to escape his home as flames engulfed his neighborhood.
It's like the worst feeling ever. Like, it's the worst.
Firefighters are fanned out across the region, many of them charged with putting out hot spots to make sure the flames don't reignite. At least 5,700 homes and businesses have been destroyed, including Sweet Tea's restaurant. The owner brought employees together Friday for a lunch and to pick up their final paychecks.
Our payroll is almost $90,000 a month, and so it's all going to affect it. It's going to just have a rippling effect through the economy.
The state's fire chief said it could be weeks or longer before investigators can determine the causes of the wildfires. Chris Martinez, CBS News, near Calistoga.
And speaking of fires, billions of dollars in federal disaster relief will soon be available to communities hard hit by wildfires, hurricanes, and floods if the U.S. Senate follows the lead of the U.S. House. Late last night, the House passed an emergency aid package of $36.5 billion to help ravaged areas hit hard by natural disasters. The package includes $18.7 billion for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, $1.2 billion for Puerto Rico, and $576 million for wildfire recovery. Now, even though the disaster aid passed the House, it faces an uncertain path in the Senate. 69 Republicans opposed the bill in the House, which means it could have some problems with the Senate conservatives. The White House, however, and Senate leaders have endorsed the bill.
And turning to weather, Bob, Jay came back from the football game tonight, and he looked like a popsicle.
Yeah, it was a cold night.
Out there.
Pretty cold out there, wasn't it, Jay? Yeah.
He's still cold,
really
I think.
Now, last night it was even colder. Let me show you what we wound up with. We dipped down to 26 degrees above zero last night. That was our first hard freeze of the season. Now take a look at this. Here's where we're at right now, 38 degrees, and we are expected to cool down a little bit farther as the night goes on. Elsewhere around the state, a lot of 30s and 40s. But as you can see, I wanted to show you this. We got this picture from Chris Leedy Ross, and this was a picture she took yesterday of that beautiful tree. Now we had that hard freeze, and look what happened to all the leaves. They all fell down on the ground. Probably seen the same thing in your yard as well. Well, tonight we also have some spotty rain and snow showers moving through. You can see here on the radar, we had some showers move through Billings, some snow showers also, but they're kind of probably going to track a little bit farther to the south, so we're not too concerned about the snow there tonight. But we might see a couple of snowflakes in the morning, but that is about it. Tomorrow, late morning, we're probably going to see mostly sunny skies move in, and it's going to look pretty. We'll have more on that coming your way in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks, Bob.
President Trump says the Iran nuclear deal is not in the nation's best security interest, so he is decertifying the deal that was agreed to by the Obama administration.
Seth Lemon has more details from the White House.
We cannot and will not make this certification.
President Trump says he is decertifying the Iran nuclear deal, but he's not going to follow through with his campaign promise to tear the deal up. For now.
In the event we are not able to reach a solution working with Congress and our allies, then the agreement will be terminated.
In addition to decertifying the deal, the U.S. issued new sanctions against Iran's Revolutionary Guard, which the White House says is a sponsor of terrorism. It places new sanctions on Iran's ballistic missile program, which is separate from the nuclear deal. And the decision starts a 60-day countdown for Congress to decide whether to reinstitute new sanctions against Iran. The White House has been working with Senators Bob Corker of Tennessee and Tom Cotton from Arkansas to draft new legislation to fix what they call flaws in the pact. Critics worry the decision could allow Iran to opt out of the deal and start working on nuclear weapons again.
President Trump's refusal to recertify is a grave mistake that threatens America's security and our credibility at a very critical time.
Iran and America's European allies who co-signed the deal say they will not renegotiate the pact. Seth Lemon for CBS News, the White House.
And Senator Corker says he expects to be able to introduce the new legislation within 2 weeks.
In an emotional news conference today, the Las Vegas sheriff once again revised his story on how the recent shooting massacre went down. Police now say they believe the hotel security guard happened upon Stephen Paddock around the same time Paddock opened fire on the country music crowd below. Also tonight, new information on Paddock's tactics. The sheriff now says at one point the killer turned his guns away from concert goers when he saw police arriving and instead focused his bullets toward the authorities. As of tonight, 45 people are still hospitalized, some in critical condition.
President Trump threw a big financial wrench into Obamacare on Thursday when he announced his administration no longer will pay a key subsidy for certain health care policies.
The impact of the decision isn't entirely clear yet, but as MTN's Mike Dennison reports, it's not good news for some insurers selling policies on the individual marketplace.
A major goal of Obamacare is to make health insurance more affordable to people buying on the individual market. In other words, those who don't have access to group policies through their job. That's only about 6% of the market in Montana, 65,000 people. One of the tools to achieve that goal is called cost-sharing reductions, or CSRs. For someone earning less than $30,000 a year, the CSR reduces out-of-pocket costs like deductibles or co-payments. But the Trump administration says it's canceling the federal payments to insurers that subsidize these savings. Insurers must raise their 2018 rates to cover the cost of CSRs or eat those costs. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Montana had prepared for possible shakeups by the Trump administration and filed an average 20% increase for policies in this market next year.
Insurers really had two choices at the outset of developing their 2018 products. You could either include this uncertainty in your rates or you could choose not to include this uncertainty. And we were the only insurance company that elected to do that. So it'll be interesting to see what the impact is in the marketplace.
The two other insurers in Montana's individual market, Pacific Source and the Montana Health Co-op, did not file for higher rates. State Insurance Commissioner Matt Rosendale said Friday the feds are saying those companies cannot file for new rates now. Co-op President Larry Turney says the co-op will appeal that decision. But if the decision stands, he says the co-op will have to decide whether to remain in Montana. He says loss of the subsidy will cost the co-op $1.6 million a month, and that the Trump administration is clearly trying to torpedo a key aspect of Obamacare.
They're definitely trying to make Obamacare fail, and they're giving it a little push to do it. I think the president was very unhappy with the House and the Senate not being able to pass anything, so he's taking it in on his own to basically do away with Obamacare in one way or another.
Montana's Democratic U.S. Senator John Tester is calling on Congress to override the president. But Republican U.S. Senator Steve Daines, he said Friday he won't support what he calls bailing out big insurance companies. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
And health insurers are encouraging people who need those policies to continue to sign up.
In many cases, they say the final cost to consumers may not be that much more. Enrollment for the policies starts next month.
Up next on your Q2 Friday Night News, the country is not just watching and weighing in on Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke's travel. We'll show you what else is getting people's attention.
And later in sports, a down-to-the-wire finish at Dallas tonight between West and Missoula Sentinel. Find out who prevails on this Friday the 13th.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.